Greetings, this is a breaking news on the Creative Society channel. Global climate change is gaining momentum. The world's first state of Tuvalu in Oceania is moving completely to another territory because of climate change. It is known that about 5,000 Tuvaluans have already moved to New Zealand, which is half the population of the island. In the early November, the head of Ministry of Justice, Communications and Foreign Affairs, Kofi, recorded a video message for the UN Climate Summit, standing knee-deep in water. According to experts, the territory of the island will be flooded by the world's ocean and it will be completely impossible to live on it.
Climate, like a bold and cunning adversary during a battle, seizes more and more territory, while its opponent slumbers carelessly. We should wake up and actively unite now to build a creative society before climate chaos brings all the inhabitants of the planet to their knees of hopelessness. After all, it's already happening. Watch in this episode.
A series of devastating cataclysms occurred in the northern part of American continent. On December 11, strong winds in the Canadian province of Ontario left more than 280,000 buildings without electricity. In another province of Canada, British Columbia, unprecedented rains in November, which lasted for weeks, caused the most catastrophic flood in the history of observation. Homes, farms and businesses were flooded and infrastructure was destroyed. Unfortunately, casualties have been reported. Before that, the province experienced severe forest fires during the summer.
Recall that on the night of December 11, residents of several US states were hit by a historic tornado. At the same time, there were floods in the state of California, about which Alex Londos recorded a report specially for breaking news.
Hello, my name is Alex Londos. I'm recording for Climate Breaking News. I'm currently located in Santa Cruz, California. This area has been affected by the atmospheric river that impacted central to slightly northern California. I'm here right now next to the San Lorenzo River in the Benchlands homeless community encampment that's next to the San Lorenzo Park. Unfortunately, San Lorenzo River has such a large watershed area, it directed all of the water from this entire region to this location. Again, this is the San Lorenzo River and there's a lot of homeless encampments along this stretch of river. In the last 10 or 20 minutes, even the water in this area is still increasing in height. It is not receding. There are a lot of homeless encampments throughout this region and along this river, but this is the area that's been affected the most. There are some of the people that are evacuating. There's a evacuation center or some sort of staging area that has been set up at the lower level of the 3 or 4 story parking garage next to the Wells Fargo building, just a few blocks from this location. So this is a very difficult situation for the people affected by this disaster. Fortunately, Santa Cruz hasn't experienced a large volume of climate-related disasters in the previous years. We have experienced increases in severe storms and more forest fires, but this is one of the first major storms that's affected the homeless community to this level. There will be more superstorms in the future. There will be more forest fires, floods, lightning events, as well as global heat waves and regional droughts. Unfortunately, a lot of people have been affected by this disaster.
Elsewhere in California, there were also heavy rains, which after a prolonged drought caused flooding. Rainfall records were set in many places, from Los Angeles to Santa Maria, including Lancaster, where rainfalls was 3 times the previous record from 50 years ago. More on the floods in Latin America.
In early December 2021, prolonged downpours caused widespread flooding in the state of Bahia, Brazil. Unfortunately, casualties and injured people have been reported. More than 20,000 people were evacuated. A state of emergency was declared in 51 cities of the state. In some regions, the rain began in mid-November. In the municipality Itabiraba, 300 millimeters of rain fell in just 48 hours. This amount is equal to the monthly norm. In some areas, residential buildings collapsed due to flooding and heavy rainfall. In the municipality of Itamaraju, a massive landslide destroyed several buildings, and in the municipality of Prado, due to the impossibility of roads, about 5,000 people were isolated from the outside world.
More than 5 million hectares of crops were destroyed by heavy rains in India in 2021. Karnataka, Rajasthan, West Bengal, Bihar, Maharashtra and other states were most affected. According to the Indian Meteorological Department, the state of Karnataka, which has the largest area of damaged crops, received twice the monthly norm of rainfall from October to November. An eyewitness from the state of Maharashtra will tell us what people have to deal with during floods and what becomes the most precious during the floods.
My name is Satyajit Bhosle. I'm from Satara, from Maharashtra. On this year, 22nd July, very heavy rain had come in Chiploon area in Maharashtra. People think that situation will come and go, so they was not prepared that much. But just that time situation become very much critical, and suddenly water start to gain and become very flooded area in few hours. So people don't have much time to shift their own stuff or own things. So they just left that at home and run away from the city. Destruction was completely like people just left their own things on their home, but after they come, that they can't see even their home on their place. So completely houses was shifted and left it from their place. And situation was very critical, and they used to stay in government places like bus stops, bus stations, railway stations. They don't have any options to survive for this flood. I would say that the government reached that situation, we reached that place after 3 to 4 days, because they were completely unaware about this situation. So they were completely planning about what we want to do, how we want to do, and they were completely wasted 2 to 3 days in this planning. But NGOs and organizations like us, they just pulled it completely whatever they have, and they fastly reached their places. We were preparing some food, and we keep it in our van, and we go in that area. So just like other people, we noticed one man with kilos gold in his hand, and very known wealth status. He has his bike in with him, but he still was begging for food, two-time food, and he was literally crying that take whatever you want, take whatever you want from me, because he has money in his home, but he don't has any food for his two-time survival. So people were completely aware with this situation that money and other things is not necessary. What is necessary is that time humanity, and how you have whatever is coming with you. Flood is a normal situation in Maharashtra because Maharashtra is known for heavy rains. Every riverside village is affected every year, but the situation is not that much critical like this year. So people were aware about flood area. They mark last year flood line, and they follow that line because they prepare about that line. But this year situation was not that easy, and the line crossed about 25 to 30 feet above that line, last year line. So people were kindly aware, but not completely understand the situation of this year. I think this kind of disaster teaches that we have to unite. We have to start rethinking about our society and human race, that where are we going and how we are going and how we are conquering our own nature, our own earth. So we have choose a very fast and constructive way to reach and become a modern technology. Everyone want to understand the situation of nature crisis, and everyone has to learn about it. If we are facing these situations, then we have to start something which avoid bigger crisis. If we are understanding the situation, then we have to do something from our own hand. We don't have to wait and watch that government will do something or other organizations will do something. I believe that we have power of human groups, society. So we have to start it. Society will support us, and it will goes like nothing else. So that is what I want to message our people, that help each other. That is the only way to survive. That is the only way to hope. And I think helping people with selflessly teach us that we are human and we are not animal. So that is the only way we can connect each other.
If you have witnessed a climate anomaly, send your video footage to climate@creativesociety.com.
A cascade of natural disasters hits Europe in the first decade of December. Thus, in Germany, France, Poland and Switzerland there were heavy snowfalls, and the inhabitants of Ireland and Great Britain suffered from a powerful storm Bahia, which brought heavy rains and winds. A few days later, the storm wreaked havoc on the northern Spain. This, as well as snowfall in Austria, flooding and landslides in France, will be covered further by the breaking news reporter.
Hello, this is the breaking news reporter from Austria. On December 9th, 2021, a heavy snowfall hit Austria. The level of snow cover across the country reached a nearly 10-year high. In Burgenland, about 30 centimeters of snow fell overnight, and in some parts of Carinthia, snow caused power outages. Hundreds of homes were without power. About 50 centimeters of snow fell in some places in the mountains. In many areas, snowplows were sent to the streets. On the same day, heavy rains hit southwest France, triggering river overflows and landslides. The melting snow in the Pyrenees Mountains also contributed to the flooding, where an orange level of danger was declared as hundreds of people were evacuated. A heavy landslide was registered in the commune of Itzazu, while in the commune of Lawrence, 187 millimeters of rain fell within 24 hours, which is highly atypical for this time of year. There is serious damage. Approximately 4,000 households were affected, with many homes experiencing power outages.
wurden einige Straßen blockiert, der Zugverkehr wurde eingestellt und der Unterricht in mehreren Schulen fiel aus.
Fortunately, there were no casualties due to this disaster.
Keine Toten oder Verletzten. Am
On
10.
December 10th, Storm Bara struck northern Spain, causing the worst flooding in 20 years.
Die schlimmsten Überschwemmungen seit 20 Jahren.
The autonomous communities of Navarra and Basque County were the most affected. One person was killed by a landslide.
Kam bei einem Erdrutsch leider ums Leben.
The storm brought heavy rains, which along with the melting snow at high altitude, led to a rapid water level rise in the rivers. Two major rivers burst their banks, flooding several towns. Cars, homes, and other buildings were flooded.
In
the city of Pamplona, people had to use kayaks, and rescuers with pumps tried to lower the water level. In the center of the small town of Viljava, the water level reached the roofs of houses. Especially in recent years, we have noticed how rapidly the climate is changing in Austria and Germany. In summer, it becomes warmer and drier, and in winter, flowers begin to bloom in the fields. I consider it extremely important to be honest about the problem of climate change on our planet. But it is much more important for us as humanity, in the face of cataclysms that are increasing every day, to unite in time to confront them together as one big family. In extreme situations, the humanness of each of us is tested. Mutual help, caring for each other in such moments is important like never before. Because no matter what religion we belong to, what status in society, the color of our skin, whether we are vaccinated or not vaccinated, or what interests we have, we are all united by humanity and a common goal, not only to survive in such difficult times, but live in a humane way.
From December 13 to 14, in the Russian capital Moscow, there was a record snowfall. 20% of the monthly norm of precipitation fell within a day. In some areas of the city, drifts grew to 30 centimeters and caused dozens of traffic accidents. This snowfall was the heaviest in 32 years. This was reported by forecaster of the Center Phobos, Evgeny Tishkovets. According to him, so much snow on this day has not fallen since 1989. See below for other natural disasters in Europe and elsewhere in the world.
On December 11, 2021, a powerful storm caused widespread flooding and severe damage to infrastructure in west-central Greece. Casualties and injured people have been reported. Due to heavy rains, rivers overflowed their banks, many towns were flooded, roads were blocked, several bridges were destroyed, and farmlands were flooded. As a precaution, residents of some towns were evacuated. At the same time, in the north of the country, hurricane-force winds tore down the roofs of houses, uprooted trees and brought down the poles of power lines. On December 12, a heavy snowfall hit a part of Serbia. About 90,000 families were left without electricity. In Belgrade, several trees fell under the weight of the snow, damaging cars and buildings. There was chaos in the icy roads due to traffic jams. Rail and air services were also disrupted. In early December, prolonged flooding in the Republic of Congo caused severe damage. Residents of 4 departments of the country were affected: Likuala, Sanga, Kiwet, and Plateau. In addition to the victims, there are people who lost their lives and went missing. Increased rains since mid-November has worsened the situation in the region. In this regard, a state of emergency was declared on November 28. Nearby areas were flooded due to rising water level in the rivers. More than 6,000 people were forced to leave their homes. Heavy downpours also flooded fields and livestock, dramatically reducing people's livelihoods. From December 9 to 13, the Earth Cape Province in South Africa was severely affected by severe thunderstorms. Victims have been reported. Due to hail, lightning and windstorms, more than 90,000 families across the province were left without electricity. Homes, businesses, and hospitals were damaged. Some houses were completely destroyed, leaving many families homeless. On December 14, 37 earthquakes were reported by the U.S. Geological Survey. The strongest, magnitude 7.3, was recorded 112 kilometers north of the city Maumere, Indonesia, at the depth from 10 to 12 kilometers. After that, 15 aftershocks were recorded, the strongest of which was a magnitude of 5.6. Several houses were destroyed. Residents left their homes in panic and rushed to the hills.
From December 11 to 16 alone, the planet experienced a significant number of natural disasters, with record numbers and an increasing amount of destruction. As was said at the conference Global Crisis Time for Truth, the climate is our common enemy that attacks hard. Every second of our inaction is its advantage.
Every day, thousands of people face climate disasters that hit suddenly, and people don't always have even a couple of seconds to gather the essentials. And the words of our witnesses, scientists, voiced at the conference show that we, humanity, unfortunately, are not ready to solve such vital problems.
The world must wake up. Climate summit in Glasgow, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson urged world leaders today.
The climate crisis is not our fight alone, it's a global fight.
We see the warning signs in every continent and region.
It is the biggest problem humanity has faced ever.
Allah'ım yarabbim yardım et. Allah'ım yardım et. Allah'ım yardım et. Allah'ım yardım et. Arkadan gelenlere yardım et.
More evacuations are underway this morning as firefighters try to contain a fast-moving wildfire.
Can't see, just go easy now. Easy. The car's heating up, it's gonna explode. Jesus God, help us.
It's a terrifying moment. A mother is trapped in her car with her 4 kids while huge chunks of hail tumble down on them. She does her best to calm them down.
No, you're okay. It's okay.
Go, go. Go.
Just pull over, Jordy.
A movie. And the clock is ticking to the furious rhythm.
It is a global challenge. We need to act. We feel the urgency.
The longer we fail to act, the worse it gets, and the higher the price when we are eventually forced by catastrophe to act. This is the last chance.
We hear so many right words, the climate crash.
We need to act.
But have those words saved us from climate change? Have those words prevented destruction of the environment? Our world is rapidly collapsing. What will be next? Are we able to change anything? This question has driven each of us to take action. Right now, with this live broadcast, a historic event is taking place. The International Online Conference, Global Crisis, Time for the Truth. 100 languages of simultaneous interpreting, organized by volunteers from 180 countries on the platform of the international project Creative Society. This conference will change the future if everyone watches it.
A comprehensive knowledge of the causes of all current world's crises provides opportunities to realize a creationist society. Otherwise, we risk not only our future, but already our present. Because there is almost no time left for that.
Right now, we have no defense against a threat whose power is growing rapidly. A creative society is an opportunity to cope with the effects of cyclical climate change. After all, in such a society, the potential of all humanity will be aimed at saving our civilization.
Why do we need the entire human potential? Why cannot someone do it on their own? Because first of all, we don't have this knowledge. We don't have this kind of energy. We have to understand that the power of impact affecting our planet is enormous. So all the energy that we have on Earth that is available to us is not enough to counteract the power of impact that is taking place. There is a small nuance here too. I'll just explain for understanding. Let's not delve too much into this, it would take a lot of time. I understand that people might be curious, but the impact is taking place not at the macro, but at the micro level. In other words, it's not a direct impact of macro objects in outer space on macro objects. It's an interaction at the micro level between particles. It is an enormous energy. Again, I understand that the question will arise. But how is that? The interaction between large objects is a huge energy, but between particles it is weak.
Well, yes.
You see, our science is in such a state nowadays that we cannot answer many questions yet. That is why we need the combined potential to answer it. The interaction between particles, those that make up our entire universe, takes place at the energy level. It's an exchange of information as well as interconnections. That's where gravitation and many other things emerge, so these interactions are very strong. Look at what is happening to the planet. After all, destabilization comes from within the planet, while everything else is a consequence that we see.
Only together, all of humanity, can we survive the worldwide battle with climate. We humans have only one chance left to unite on human qualities and direct our attention to building a creative society.
A society where everyone's life comes first. Learn more about the Creative Society at creativesociety.com. Thank you for being with us today and see you soon on the Creative Society channel.